All right. All right. Looks like we're live, man.
All right, just let me.
Yeah.
All right, I got my wife's phone so I can see the.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up on my phone too so I can see. But yeah, man, I'm glad to finally have you on the channel. Been trying to do this for a while, so it's good to finally have you on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I've been really waiting to come on, so
Yeah, I
absolutely,
know.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I know it's been like back and forth trying to schedule it, and we finally got it. Finally, schedule worked out.
Yeah, the last time I was at a wedding,
Right. Yeah. How was that? How was that wedding?
well, it was fun. It was the first backyard wedding, I guess you could say,
Uh-huh.
I've ever been to. So it was a really low budget wedding, but I mean, we had a good time, and they loved each other, and so it went good.
Yeah. Didn't you say something like it was a 3%ers wedding or something like that?
Right. So it was a 3% woman marrying a 3% man, but they had been together for 7 years. So yeah,
That's
they had been together for 7 years, and he promised her after 5 years he would marry her. Sorry, give me a second.
No, you're good. People are just starting to trickle in. I'm gonna give some shout outs. Bow the conservative, the right conservative. My man Joey in there. Joey calls me the Reverend. And then Linda Nguyen. What's up, Mike C? Maurice Delk in the building. Maurice Delk doesn't like my mohawk. Or do you like my mohawk? He said, this nigga got a mohawk.
Come on, Mo.
I mean, I'm switching it up, man. New year, new me. I'm gonna start off 2019 with a bang.
There you go.
And I'm switching it
100%.
up because you know what? One day I might not have any hair, so I might as well have some fun with it now. And now that it's cut like this, I probably won't wear a hat as much.
Yeah.
So I usually wear hats more in the summer, because it's hotter and keep the sun on my face. But
Yeah, but in Florida, it's kind of acceptable all year round. What you say?
right, yeah, that's very true. All right, cool. Well, we got 16 people watching, guys. Make sure you give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Tony Patriot. Sorry, I'm gonna look up in a second here. I want to make sure because we don't. Well, we got some moderators in here, right? Conservative. If you could get Tony's channel in the chat so people can sub to his channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. All right,
It's
man.
easy.
So go ahead.
I was gonna say it's easy to spell if he has a hard time with it. It's just Tony Patriot, Tony, the way most men spell it, and Patriot. So
The way
should be
most
easy to
men
find.
spell it. Trigger warning. All right, I got your thing in there. All right, so let's get into it. So I got to be honest, like ever since the midterms ended, I haven't been as politically engaged as I would like to be. Like with these daily stories, and I just see them as distractions. And before midterms, I was on fire. I would be talking about from the Kavanaugh hearing to the caravan to the YBLS. I was just fired up. And then after midterms, I'm just kind of like, yeah, these are just kind of daily stories, just distractions. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy for me to get like worked up to where I want to make videos. And I just didn't find a lot of stuff that I'm interesting. But with this war on Christmas, which, happens every year, I couldn't help but to like speak out on it because it drives me insane the way that they are trying so hard to destroy everything about Christmas, everything about America. They want completely gone. And they're sacrificing all of it at the altar of PC culture. So, what are your thoughts on the latest? What's the latest thing? See, I can't even keep track. I was watching Mark Dice this morning, and I guess with the Santa Claus. So Santa Claus, of course, is sexist. He's also he's a straight white able-bodied male, so he's, Santa Claus is oppressive, but then Santa Claus is also gay for kids. He has a black husband in a book. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, just, it's insane, man.
Right, absolutely, it's insane. If it was up to the liberals, we wouldn't have any holidays. They complain about everything: Fourth of July, Christmas, Easter. But I mean, some more things. Can't candy canes being banned because they're the letter J representing Jesus in that one school. Um, Most elementary schools have canceled any songs in their school plays that have the word Jesus in the Christmas song. So they've taken those songs out of the play. Um, Don Lemon, there's another one. Don Lemon's talking about that President Trump, by saying Merry Christmas all the time and keep saying Merry Christmas, is dog whistling to his fans.
His fans, meaning American citizens. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that clip.
Yeah. Um,
It doesn't make any sense, man. Like, so Trump saying Merry Christmas is a dog whistle to how? First of all, it's not a dog whistle. He's outright saying it. Like,
right. Merry
and
Christmas. Like people say to each other all the time. In one of my jobs I work with, I do deal with public, and people say Merry Christmas to me all the time. I
mhm.
don't see that as offensive or anything. And if I wasn't Christian, I would probably just say Merry Christmas back, or just say Happy Holidays back. I don't even think it offends them. It's just the media trying to make more of it than what it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because the war on Christmas has been going on forever. This isn't new, but I think people are just starting to be awake to it because it's gotten so rigid. I think it started way back in like the early 2000s. It's been going on worldwide. Like, it's been a global thing, but in the United States, it wasn't until like the early 2000s. And I think Bill O'Reilly like coined the term, technically, war on Christmas. But that's pretty much where it started. And then I look up one day, and next thing I know, they're going after Starbucks and they're going after retail. They're like, you can't say Merry Christmas in your department stores anymore. You got to say Happy Holidays. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but I get it, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever else. But I'm like, is Merry Christmas offensive or something? Starbucks had to change the way the designs on their cups. And it started small like that, and then it just got more and more radically progressive. Like,
Yeah.
when I was working for Target, they changed their whole toy section because boys and girls section for toys was too binary.
Too
So
decisive.
yeah, I'm like, okay, that's extreme. And then, I could see that they were trying to take, this is really a war on Christ. You know what this really is. It's a
Absolutely.
war on Jesus Christ because they want to say Xmas instead of Christmas. Like, those little switches up of like words and language is like, that's just kind of like their segue in, and then they start hammering away at it. Like this year, going after Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, going after Frosty the Snowman. Like, are you kidding me? I'm never going to say snow person. That's never happening. I'm sorry. That's just stupid. And then they're saying like it offends Muslims for us to say Merry Christmas here. I'm like, so first of all,
Right.
that's not offensive to say Merry Christmas. This is a Christian majority country, so who cares?
Absolutely.
That's like if I went to Saudi Arabia and I'm like, this culture offends me, therefore I need this culture to accommodate me, change everything about this culture to accommodate me. It's like, that's not how it works. The world doesn't owe you anything. But that's just kind of how the left operates.
Yeah. It's not. It wouldn't happen that way. Try going to another culture and telling them what to do, see what happens. But a point I want to make is people do come to America for religious freedom, right? So you come to America for religious freedom. It's one of the main reasons people come here. Yet the Americans that are here, they're trying to take away our religious freedom.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Also, we were all kids once. Christmas was magical to us, and they're trying to destroy that. They want to take away kids' happiness. I mean, it's really disgusting to me. liberals are disgusting to me. Obviously not classic liberals, because classic liberals are different, but liberals of today are completely disgusting to me. I have no respect for them whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even so much that they are taking the fun out of it, because they're definitely doing that. They're like perverting it. Like, why do kids need to learn about gay Santa Claus? This doesn't even make any sense. Like, keep it traditional. That's where they kind of start attacking people on the right and saying, like, you know, the right wingers they're with their traditional values. They just want that evangelical Christianity. It's like, no, people like traditional Christian or Christmas stories and stuff. Like, why do you need to introduce all these new stories and change Santa Claus? And why do you need to change the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Why
Right.
is and then why are you adding all these extra things like baby it's cold outside? Like, why all of a sudden now? Because I feel like it's the progressives and the liberals that are millennials, so they have the same childhood as me. Like, so you went your whole life not being offended by Christmas, and now everything is offensive. Like, everything must be banned. I think it was San Francisco where the baby is cold outside thing came. They played it on the radio, and then a bunch of people called in saying, "I'm offended. It's talking about rape. It's talking about date rape or something like that." And
Right.
so they stopped playing it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
what
like,
I was just getting ready to say that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just noticed J Dog, he brought that up. So I was just getting ready to say, yeah, the It's Cold Outside song they call rapey now. So, I mean, like, come on, man, give me a break. There's nothing to do with rape in that song.
Yeah, I guess that's where being in a culture war. I mean, it sucks because you see them trying to suck the fun out of everything, all the holidays. But where it's kind of fun, at least for me, is when they try to control and dictate and be authority figures. Like, you can't say this, that's offensive. It makes me want to do it more. So, like, if they're saying baby it's cold outside is bad or sexist or whatever, I'm like, I want to blast that song when I'm driving down the street now. Like, I never listened to it, but I would listen to it now tenfold just because they say I can't. Just like with Trump, like, you're black, you can't support Trump. You can't. I'm like, well, let me get a MAGA hat. Let me get a MAGA t-shirt. Let me get a MAGA bumper sticker, because people just love to try to control. It's all about trying to control others for your own sick, weird pleasure. Because I don't know what you're like. What else would you be getting out of it other than I'm controlling someone else? I get to decide what they say and think, and we're going to change the culture and build it in my image. So therefore, people need to do. I'm like, no, it's not going to work. But you're right, man. They've taken pretty much every holiday now. It's sad. I think New Year's is the one thing that they haven't gone after yet. I'm sure that's next. They've gone through the whole calendar year.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yep. I remember, was it Father's Day this year? They're like, that promotes heteronormativity and all this. And Mother's Day, like, what about the men that can be mothers? I'm like, you mean fathers? We call them fathers and they have their own day.
Right.
It's just like you have to correct them, like, because it's so delusional.
Here, I got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer here with me.
Nice. Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out.
Rudolph.
Oh, okay. That's cool. A little chihuahua. Is that
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey guys, make sure you give the video a like, please. Give it a like. Let me see how many people we got watching now. I can't tell. Hang on. But man, what else is going on? It's hard to keep up with things. Like, I really wanted to say something about that migrant girl that died in Border Patrol custody, but so many people covered it well. They
Right.
covered it so well. Like, I mean, it's so obvious too that it wasn't Border Patrol's fault. But the media is going to spin it to make it seem like it's literally Border Patrol's fault. Like, they woke up and they're like, let's kill some immigrants today. I hope some immigrants die in our custody. It just doesn't make any sense. It
No.
doesn't make any sense. I think they're doing something to the water in America, because I don't know how anyone can just say, like, is it really true that is it really their fault, or could it be that she was carried across the desert for weeks and didn't have food and water before arriving to the border? And is it really Trump's fault? Are they really getting pleasure out of a little girl dying? Could that be the case? Are they really racist down there? Or could it be that there's a lot of Hispanics that work for Border Patrol, because of the barrier? It's just like common sense and logic never kick in.
Yeah, 67% of Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. So that's a fact. I don't know if you saw Controversial Realities video. They interviewed the family of the dead girl. 3 days later, they had no ill feeling toward the U.S., toward President Trump. They weren't blaming him. But at the same time, I was quite disturbed. There was no emotion. There was no sadness. Their child had just died 3 days ago. I mean, not one tear was shed. All they talked about was, I need my husband to stay in the U.S. because we paid $7,000 for the Coyote to get him there, and now we got to pay him back. They definitely were living in poverty, but Father of the Year, you got to make sure your daughter is hydrated. So to me, the father needs at least to be charged with manslaughter. I mean, that's my opinion. I think there's no question about it. It's your job as a father to take care of your child. If you don't do that, and your child dies as a result of that, that's manslaughter. He didn't intentionally kill her, but he didn't do his job and take care of his daughter.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, and just imagine if we had a wall, if we didn't have the type of immigration laws that would even have him that would like incentivize him to bring his daughter up, because that's what she was. She was used as a tool so that he can get into the country easier and then bring the rest of the family up. But if we didn't have those laws in place, that wouldn't have happened. So that poor child was a victim of a broken immigration system and an immigration laws that we just don't enforce.
Absolutely. And they even said that in their interview. They said he took the young child because he was told it would make it easier for him to get in.
Yep.
But how about putting your child's safety first? That's what any good parent would do.
Yeah.
I don't care what part of the world you're from.
That brings me to the next topic, kind of, sort of, the border wall. What are your thoughts on the border wall?
I'm very mad right now because I just read an article that Trump has already backed off on the border wall. He is not closing the government for the border wall. He's already given them a revised proposal for $1.6 billion for border security. So he's already given up on the border wall. Now, I love Trump, but right at this moment, I'm angry. I wanted them to shut the government down. I don't care, for 6 months until the border wall is built. We need that border wall, and we need it now. Not 3-4 years from now. 3-4 years from now, there's going to be 25 million more people here or more. We need that border wall now. I was happy to see him stand up for it, but he's already retracting it. So I'm pretty upset right now about that.
Yeah, it's frustrating for me too, because I would say the border wall is about the only thing right now that I could get fired up about and make videos upon videos. But I already sound like a broken record, and I don't want to just make videos about the same thing. I don't want to continue covering the same topic, even though that's like the most important topic is border wall. Because if we don't have a secure border, we don't have a country, like Trump said. So nothing else matters. That's why I said, like, with pushing for prison reform and, healthcare reform, what does any of that shit matter at all if we're just going to have people flooding in here because the cost of everything is going to go up? We already have so many people here that don't pay taxes as it is, whether they're citizens or non-citizens. Think about how many American citizens don't pay taxes at all, but yet they're getting benefits like Obamacare, phones, food, you name it. And as more people get hooked up to that welfare system, it's just going to raise the taxes for everybody else so they can keep it afloat. You see it in California. If you ever want to know how bad the United States can get, just look at California, where they tried to tax text messages because they're already bankrupt. California is broke. And so they're just trying to figure out what else can we tax to support our welfare program. Like, why does the government even feel like they need to pay for luxury items for citizens? A cell phone, really? That's a luxury item.
Absolutely.
I don't know how anybody can live in California, but if you look at California, man, like that's exactly that's the model that they want for the United States. And then they want to throw in universal basic income and all these other nonsense welfare programs that don't incentivize hard work and independence. All it does is encourage entitlement and creates a cycle of dependency. And so that's why I feel like, man, if we don't have a border wall, what's the point of talking about anything else?
Right. Because, I mean, you can't even start to fix the immigration problems until you get the wall. The wall stops the flood of the people coming in. And then at that point, it kind of, you know, can't think of the word I'm thinking of, stabilizes things. At that point, it's stable. Okay, now you can start talking about immigration policies. You can start talking about maybe giving the people that are already here a path to citizenship. I'm okay with that, but I need that wall, you know, and we need it now, not 5 years from now.
Right. Yeah, man. And then on top of that, you know, on top of the fact that we don't have a border wall, our immigration system is just broken. You have countries around the world signing this migrant compact. Canada, I believe, signed it. So that means they're going to allow way more migrants to go up to Canada. So now we got to start thinking about our northern border. Because if people want to come to the US, they can just circumvent our southern border. Like, let's say we build a southern border right now. Well, if Canada signed a migrant compact, then they're just going to come through the Canadian border. And I don't really know what our northern border is like. I know there's rougher terrain. You got mountain ranges. You got cold weather. I don't know. But if people can find a way through the northern border, they will.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point there. But we can only tackle one thing at a time. You know, it's just pathetic. Chuck Schumer said it's not going to happen. And evidently, Chuck Schumer's more powerful than President Trump. I mean, I'm just angry right now.
I know, man. It's so sad when you look at like the Democrats that are in power right now. They're the most swampy establishment. They've been in politics forever. So they already know how to play the game. They're like, oh, yeah, if I just say that I'm not for the border wall or, you know, migration's a human right, that's going to help me with this progressive base. But really, I'm like winking at other people. And they just know kind of how to navigate through and get what they need to get done so that they can stay in power. And so when you have younger, like if you had, let's say, younger non-career politicians and Trump said, I'll shut down the government, they might have taken him seriously. But I think Pelosi and Schumer, they're like, you're not shutting down the government. That's going to hurt your rating and all this other shit. They probably they know how to play the game. And so that's probably why Trump is where he's at. He just doesn't have any help, man. He has no support whatsoever.
Yeah, but I think he needs to start building that wall. You know, there's an election coming up in 2020. That was his biggest promise was that he was going to build the wall, and Mexico would pay for it. Now, at this point, I don't think any of us care whether or not Mexico pays for it. The wall will pay for itself, considering how much money we spend on illegal immigration every year. You know, even if it's $20 billion, well, what's that? What we spend 1 year on illegal immigration? So after a year, the wall pays for itself. So I don't care who pays for it. I'll, you know, tax my check more. I don't care. Build that wall. That's what we need.
Yes, sir. Let me shout out some super chats. Lee Pure Imagination TV. Much love to you, brother. Love your channel. Appreciate you, man. And then Bo the Right Conservative, or the Bo the Conservative. Appreciate the super chats, guys. Yeah, it's like when they talk about funding, and I posted this on Facebook yesterday. I mean, it wasn't like a super deep post or anything. I'm just like, okay, they're saying that building a wall is too expensive. It costs too much money. But what about sanctuary cities? What about the illegals that we have here right now? What about the freaking Mueller investigation? What about the humanitarian aid that we're sending to these countries that are in turn sending their people up here? I'm pretty sure we could, reduce the amount of money we're sending to other countries, repurpose the funds, build a wall. I was talking to my dad about this actually, like over the weekend, and I'm just like, what do you think about the wall? Because my dad wants the wall built too. And he was saying he thinks that what Trump could do in the interim is just build one of those. And I don't know much about it. You might know more about it than me. He said build one of those invisible walls, I guess. That's like electric. You know how you can have like an electric fence for your dog or something? You can have something like that for illegals on the board that are people trying to cross the border that will trip sensors. And then you can have like drones, and there's just other ways around it to where you can set up traps pretty much to catch them before they cross without having a physical wall. I'm like, anything's better than nothing, man. They can't just swim across the river. I've seen so many videos where they'll get like a raft from Target or Walmart, whatever, and they'll just float across the river to get to the other side. Or, they're digging tunnels in the desert, they're hiding in trees. There's just too many ways. It's like almost too easy for them to get in the country.
Absolutely. But I mean, the wall we want goes 20 feet deep and, 50 feet high. And, of just a big, beautiful wall that says Trump on it every mile. That's what I want. Um, One of your super chats said, why don't we fund the wall ourselves? Is that possible? Yes, there is one. Is it fundthewall.com? I think it's the only one that's approved by the IRS. And they don't have a ton of money yet. I think they've got a couple 100,000 maybe. But, if you're interested in doing that, and it's a good idea, that we all fund the wall ourselves, and eventually we might have to. I'm really hoping Trump gets it done, especially if he wants to be president again for another term. But if not, it might come down to we have to build the wall ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to. And I know conservative Mexicans have been talking about Fund the Wall on his channel quite a bit. And yeah, I didn't know it was approved by the IRS, but
yeah, because if we just gave them the money, they wouldn't take it. So you have to have a group that is approved by the IRS, and that's, as of right now, that's the only group that is fundthewall.com.
huh. Well, I guess we'll see, because man, 2020 is coming up, and if we can't start it, didn't Trump already say that like we built sections of the wall like
Yeah,
along the San Diego
yeah,
border?
like he got like 1.6 billion or something like that. Or yeah, so I mean, he's building it in sections that really need it, but it's not really what we want. We want the wall across the whole southern border. But I mean, it helps. And when you talk to the border patrol agents, they say it's all the difference in the world because it gives you time. It's not about completely stopping them. Okay, they might be able to get around it, under it, over it eventually. But while they're sitting there trying to put the ladder up and climb it and figure this, that, because one border patrol agent might be in charge of 40, 50 miles of wall at any given time. Okay, so it's going to take them time to do what they can try to do to get over the wall. As they're spending the time trying to get over the wall, that's buying the border patrol agents valuable time to get them and stop them from coming over.
Yeah.
And also, obviously we need to change the laws. This 1 foot in America crap. Now you're our problem. No, that needs to be changed. We should be able to, if we catch you as soon as you jump over the wall, we should be able to take you right to the end of the wall and take you right back into Mexico. But until these laws change, we can't do that. Their hands are tied.
What are your thoughts about the bleeding hearts in our country that say everyone deserves a chance, no human is illegal, building a border wall is racist because the TV told me so? What do you say to them? Like what?
Okay, I mean, I mentioned that earlier. People that say no human is illegal, they're disgusting. If you want to have no laws, no borders, we won't have a country anymore. People won't even want to come to our country because we won't have a country anymore. Um, they're thinking with their emotions. Where's the logic? Uh, I just can't even. It's hard for me to comprehend. I've always been taught to think logically about things, and everybody in my generation was. Logic. Logic overcomes emotion. Emotion is just a feeling, a physical. Logic is okay. This is what makes sense. And we need to base our decisions on what makes sense, not what makes us feel good.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, man. And unfortunately, what I think is going to take is people are going to have to see the negative effects impact their lives personally, because right now they're just feeling like, Trump is racist. Of course, they just don't want the country to be browner, all that nonsense that they're hearing on the news. But if they look up one day and they don't have a job or their taxes go up, they're going to say, what the hell's going on? And then we'll be like, we tried to warn you 5 years ago. Now it's too late. It's like the frog that's boiling and doesn't know that it's boiling, and until it's too late. That's what I think it's going to have to take, because that's what just happened in France. I mean, even though people say Macron was he cheated his way to a victory, I think the French people, the French government, like, they've been generous. They've been more than generous, and now they're seeing what their generosity got them. So it's almost like they can't really be mad at anyone but themselves, because they put the people in power who decided to destroy France and import the third world. So when you have people that want to do that and then they want to get outraged after the fact, it's like, well, you kind of did this to yourself. This is your consequence. That's what happened over in France. And now they're taking to the streets, flipping cars, burning up property, wearing those yellow vests. And it's spreading across Europe because most of the European countries have had open borders. And they're getting more aggressive with bringing migrants over, like signing this pact to make migration a human right. That's going to incentivize people who aren't even thinking about leaving to come over. Because, like I said, it's going to create that sense of entitlement. People are going to say, well, it's my human right. So, of course, I'm going over there now. That's like if they just said right now, like, hey, tacos are a human right. You'd have people lined up at Chipotle right now. They would line up every single day to get free food because they're like, they just called it a human right. I wasn't even hungry, but I'm going to get my food because it's my right. Same thing with migrating across to another country. As soon as you say that, as soon as you start using that rhetoric and calling it a human right, then people feel entitled to it, and they're going to. It's almost a call to action, essentially. So they're really trying to accelerate this one world government. That's what it's going to boil down to, because they want nations to surrender sovereignty and be like governed by the UN. So again, we have to, I guess, just have to continue using our voices. I mean, Trump is our last hope. Trump is the last hope for the country, because he's the only one that's boldly saying we need a wall. We can't have migrants flooding over. We don't want to join this compact. And I guess he's having an effect around the world, because other countries have said the same thing. I know the government in Chile said the same thing. Brazil, Italy, there's been more like Eastern European countries that are against it. But it's the main ones, man, like Canada, the UK, Germany. Like, what? It's just crazy.
Right. But
Did you?
one thing you got to realize, like in France, yes, they voted for him, but the same thing could happen here. Let's say, two states turned out less, and Hillary would have won. It still wouldn't mean that there's 50 million people that are against it, and Hillary, I'm sure, would be bringing the people in like left and right. So at the same time, you kind of got to see it from that angle. There's still going to be 50 million people pissed off that this crap is happening. And I mean, I don't condone violent protests, but it worked. They got rid of the gas tax. Not only that, Macron promised them a tax-free bonus check for every France citizen. So, the protesting worked. It would have been better to see them do it without all the violence. The last I heard, 4 people were killed. which is a shame. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, they voted him in, but at the same time, we were awfully close to having Hillary Clinton as our president. Not that most of us wanted that, but it could have happened. And if it would have, a lot of things would be different, and there would be a lot of upset people. It wouldn't surprise me if something like that would happen one day here. Eventually one day when Democrats take control again and start trying to open our borders and things of that nature. I'm not going to stand for it, and I know a lot of people that aren't.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get crazy, definitely. I guess one thing with France is the far left and the far right are both they're both kind of out in the streets protesting. So the whole country sees it. I guess he'll just have to step down. That's the only way, because otherwise I feel like they'll continue to protest. It's clear that he's just trying to bribe them. He just wants to buy their silence and buy their calmness. Like, all right, guys, let me give you a tax incentive. But he's still a puppet. The same with Merkel. Like, even though she's on her way out, she's going out swinging. She's trying to get this UN thing going. I can't believe that the UN has so much power and so much influence, and they just don't care. They could care less, but we all know what it's about. It's crazy to see it kind of unfolding in front of our eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much that's all I have to say about it. I mean, you got any final comments or any questions or any? Let me see if anybody's got any questions for you. You guys go ahead and subscribe to Tony Patriot on YouTube. I'm gonna put his I swear, guys, I'm gonna get up with this live stream thing. It's going to improve. But go ahead and subscribe to Tony Patriot on YouTube. I'll put a link to his channel in the description or in the chat.
I appreciate that, Mike. Appreciate anybody that does. I do recognize some of the names, of course, Right Conservative, CLC. So, yeah, I do know some of these people.
Joey,
yep.
Pure Imagination TV, GW. Todd Johnson. What's up, Todd Johnson?
I think we all want the same thing. Everybody in here supporting me and supporting Mike. We appreciate y'all. We step out here and do this because we feel like it's the right thing to do. I know for myself, and I'm sure for Mike too, this has nothing to do with trying to make money or anything like that. We're doing this to try to make a difference in our country, because conservatives need to speak out. Conservatives are spineless. That needs to change. We need to speak out. We need to fight when necessary. The Democrats do it all the time. So, it's time we start standing up for ourselves.
Yeah, and let me say this while it's on my mind, because, when we're talking about, like, we want a wall built and we want to maintain our culture here in the United States, it's such a big problem that you can easily get discouraged and feel like, man, it's too big. I don't have power to change it. So what I try to do is dial it back and just decide, okay, what do I have direct control over? What can I influence? And what I found was during this last year, I was able to influence how the election came out in Florida. So I think we can just do that. If we can just do our part locally, obviously you've heard that saying, like, think globally, act locally. Same thing applies here. Like we live in the largest swing state in the country, which Trump is going to have to re-win Florida. He's going to have to campaign down here. There's going to be rallies. Celebrities will come down here because, the left, they want to steal Florida. And if they can steal Florida, then it's really over, because no president has won the White House without winning Florida. So I think what we can do is just focus on trying to get this state to stay red. Luckily, we got DeSantis. We got Rick Scott for Senate. So we just have to kind of focus on the state here. And if we can at least make sure Florida goes to Trump, then everything else will hopefully fall into place. But I know that I did my part if Trump wins Florida, and it's because I worked real hard and met people, got information out, shared videos, etc.
Absolutely. I think we both did the same thing for DeSantis. I mean, I haven't made many videos, but I think I made 5 videos for DeSantis, and I spoke with people, and, you know, I talked to neighbors, and, you know, I told them Gillum is a socialist, and, you know, so I felt like I did everything in my power, you know, and that's all we can do. You know, if we did that, then we can sleep good at night.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, good talking to you. Thanks for coming on the channel. Glad to finally get you on. Again, guys, make sure you subscribe to Tony Patriot.
All right, man. I appreciate it. You know, maybe we can do it once every month or once every couple of months. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I'm going to try to get better. I'm trying to get better with doing more live streams and videos. I was on a roll there for a couple months, and then I was worn out after midterms. And then, you know, right now it's the holiday season. Like it's pretty slow. People are thinking about Christmas and stuff. So I think it'll pick up after the new year. I could just see like more random stuff happening that need to be reported on. More nonsense. Trump will start campaigning. We'll figure out who the Dems are going to run. And then, you know, things will just start picking up. The momentum will start picking up. So yeah, definitely we'll get together and do some more collaborations. But yeah, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. Looks like you got a couple more super chats if you want to give them a holler.
Oh, yeah, I need to figure out how to see the super chats in the chat on the screen instead of looking at my phone. Todd Johnson said the least I can do. Thank you, Todd. Every red penny helps. Thank you. Every dollar goes towards a great cause, because what I'm going to do when Trump starts campaigning is I'm going to go to his rallies and film everything. Because when I film Trump rallies and I go live and I talk to people, those videos go live, like viral. People see them all over. So with CNN talking about Trump's racist, all his base is just a bunch of white people. And then I go to the rallies and there's Asians, Hispanics, blacks, women's, everybody there, literally everybody there, high-fiving, having a good time. It just blows up the narrative. It just puts it in the face of people who want to believe that Trump supporters are racist. And it just basically it contradicts what people currently believe and what they want to believe. So when I have those super chats come in and stuff, that goes towards like driving up to different parts of the state and going on trips, you know, that goes a long way. So appreciate you guys.
You got another one there. He's asking if we can make a Snapchat account. I'll tell you what, I'll look into it.
Yeah, could both of you guys make a Snapchat account for the Talk Politics? Yeah, I have a Snapchat. I mean,
I don't, so I will look into it. I've been real busy, man, because the holiday seasons at my work is like crazy. So it's like this was like my one day off, and I don't think I'm off again until next week. So, but I will look into it and sign up.
Yeah. I'm on Super Chat or Snapchat. Just type in Magnificent813 and I should pop up. Same with all the other social media accounts. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to Tony Patriot. Don't hang up, Tony. I'm just going to end the broadcast here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Peace.